Sarah looked like Eve before she was driven out from paradise. You know what that means? You know, I mean, this is not to be believed, right? You know, every time we are a little bit sad or we have pain, it shows on our faces, right? Imprint on our faces. Can you imagine? Eve, before she was driven out from paradise, right? Paradise, right? So her face was glowing. The moment she was driven out from paradise, so much sadness was showing on her face, right? And Sarah looked, and Sarah was like, like before Eve was driven out from paradise. And you remember, this is mamish, the deepest, and really you have to mamish listen to it. Listen to this awesome, right? It's an old story, but I'm sure you know it. You know, the Chassidim were learning, Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach and Aflo were learning, the Mishnah says, the same way as you thank God for good things, you have to thank Him God a bit for not such good things. You have to believe in God so much.
Who says that?
The Gemara says, Shem Shem V'ochem Al HaToiva, Kach V'ochem Al Kach, same way. Awesome. And who can reach such a level, right? So the Chassidim have flown, Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach walk into the Medrash Magid, and they say, Rebbe, how can a person reach that level? I mean, Kach, you know, imagine that if someone walks in now and tells me, you know, God forbid, I don't want to even take me as an example. Someone walks in now and says, hey, you won $2 million, right? I thank you with all my heart, right? And imagine someone comes and says, you lost $2 million, so I'm thank you, God, the same way. How can you reach that level? I mean, they have such awesome belief in God. So the Medrash Magid says, I tell you what, I didn't reach it yet. But Rabbi Zusha, he reached that level. Okay, they go into the Bes Medrash and they go to Rabbi Zusha. The Rabbi Zusha should never happen to anybody. Never gavelt, you know, it's even too heartbreaking to say. Never he had 10 children. Never and 8 died. Never pain, right? So much poverty and so much sickness. So they walk into this Medrash and say, Rabbi Zusha, can you explain to us what the Talmud says? You have to thank God for bad things with the same way you thank Him for good things? How can a person reach that level? So the Rabbi Zusha says, I'm telling you the truth, you have to ask somebody else, because nothing bad ever happened to me. This is the secret. The moment you think it's bad, you're already lost, right? I mean, this is a classic story. And I have to tell you a good story there. Remind me to come back to Holy Mother Sarah. It was one of the greatest, at the same time, the Rabbi Zusha was a great, great rabbi, but a misnagid. He was not he was very wealthy, mamish a multi-millionaire.
It was a different Rabbi Zusha, of course.
No, not Rabbi Zusha, it wasn't at the same time. But actually his name was, his name was Rabbi Shlomo, and he was the rabbi in Warsaw, but he was very rich. And he had the big yeshiva and everything. And 80% of his money was invested in ships going from Danzig, bringing Polish lumber to England. It was a big business in those days. And suddenly they get a telegram, whatever it is, that the ship sunk. That means 80% of his wealth down the drain. So how going to tell him, you know, it'd be so broken? So one of his pupils says, I'll ask him, shut in the Gemara. He goes in Tim and he says, how can a person reach the level to thank God for bad news as much as he thanks Him for good news? So he says, how can he not? I mean, if a Jew, mamish believes in God, you know, mamish go out. And he says, you know, example, let's say, for instance, he says, imagine someone would come and tell you that you lost your fortune. What would you do? He says, mamish, I would say, mamish, thank you, God. So I think he's ready. He says, I should tell you good news. Mamish, he fainted away, you know. It's not so simple, right? You know what the whole thing of the tree of knowledge is? This is good and this is bad. Your whole life, everything is good and bad. The moment you're into this is good and this is bad, then something bad happens, it shows on your face, right? You see, there are so many creams now to get rid of your wrinkles, to make your face more young, but you need something else.
Cream.
Yeah, you need anti-tree of knowledge. Because the moment you know this is good and this is bad, it's showing on your face. You have to be on the level to realize it's all good, right? If it's all good, go out, imagine nothing bad ever happened to me. I look like I'm 5 years old, right?